all the significant security threats we face today, whether it's password phishing attacks, hacking of servers, compromised accounts. Blockchain solves those problems.
Hey everybody, in this video of Proof of Make, we take a look at EOS. Understanding EOS is not the simplest thing in the world. First of all, one of the big differences between the EOS blockchain is that in order to create an account, you actually need to pay money. And then you have to understand the difference between CPU staking and net staking and voting and the governance, and then you know there's a lot of different things about EOS that you don't really see in a proof of work blockchain. We're going to focus on the practical use, like when you actually get EOS that you can use and how to get the EOS you can use. Once you get EOS, you then need to know how to spend it and use it. So we're going to look at some of the dApps that allow you to connect to the EOS blockchain and leverage the technology and see how that works. All right, let's start with the end result of what you can do with EOS, and that is use decentralized applications. So this casino, online casino, is a dApp, an application that runs on top of the EOS blockchain. So let me show you kind of what happens when you first come on. So you'll need this software, which is called Scatter. And Scatter looks like this, right? It has your vault, which has all your accounts in it. If you're familiar with Ethereum, like your MetaMask for this, right? So this is what actually connects to the blockchain. And you'll need that installed. You'll click Login. It'll then connect in with your Scatter. You click Login. And pretty much all dApps work with Scatter. So my username is not telling. You usually click the owner account, and now I'm logged in. So yeah, I'm now going to use their smart contract. I click roll under 50. If it's under 50, then what it'll do is to create that transaction, it'll say accept it. I'll click accept, click yes, and it'll start rolling. And I just lost 0.25 EOS. You can use dApps just like you can use on the Ethereum blockchain. Let's talk about actually what EOS is. So I think the best way to get started with understanding a blockchain, if you're going to really get involved, is, and I know this is going to sound kind of geeky, but this is not too hard. I first deployed my own EOS blockchain. There's some easy tutorials we'll put at the bottom of the video, and I would suggest doing this. I'm not going to go through all the details of how it works. So when you deploy your own blockchain, you're really trying to get here where you can hit in Docker network inspect, and you can see the last few blocks that were mined. And you're going to want the command called Kleos. So this is maybe in a future video we'll do a technical video about how all this works, but let me say that when it comes to deploying blockchains, this is one of the more different kinds. Let's put it that way. If you're not a developer, maybe you can just kind of hop in, but I think if you're more technical, getting an idea of that will be really, really helpful as you do everything else. So let's start with what it takes to actually generate an account. So with Scatter, you can click on your vault, and then you can create a new wallet. Now, the interesting thing here is when you create a wallet, it can't be used for anything. So if I click create new wallet, it'll just create a public-private key pair. Now, the wallet that I generate, I can't actually send funds to the wallet, right? I need to connect it to an account. So what's really funny is that a lot of people have trouble creating EOS accounts. You can create your wallet, but how do you create your account? And it's pretty funny that the top ranked, this is like the top on Google search, and the top ranked answer is just ask a friend and get them to send you EOS, which I think is pretty funny for like a technical response. And then, but you know, there's also these. Now this one doesn't work. So I recommend Zeos. So you use Zeos, and then you create an account name. So I could make my name Mike, and it has to be exactly 12 characters. So Mike, and then you check the account availability. It's not available. Someone's used that. So as you can see here, like you're registering names onto the chain, which is something that's not really done commonly. So you do that, and then you click Get Account. Then you'll paste the public key that you get here. You'll paste in your public key, and then you'll create your order, and then you can pay with BTC, and it's about $2, or you can pay with F. And so you'll pay $2, and then when that finally goes through, it takes about 5 minutes or longer, and you then get EOS funded, and now you're registered on the network. Now this account is tied to your wallet, which is your authentication. So they wanted to split off that. It's a little complicated, but getting started is not a simple task. The interesting thing that you'll notice is that just because you have an account set up doesn't mean you have any money. So the most popular EOS block explorer, I'll go to my account, not telling 12, and you'll then see the account name, and you can see my information. So as you can see, so when you first come on, your actual available balance will be 0 even after you sent money. It'll actually be staked. So this is really interesting, and that's outside the scope of this video, but you'll need to send funds to your account after you pay to have it made. So Shapeshift doesn't use EOS, which is one of the simpler things. Bitfinex has limits, so if you're just testing out, it has to be like $250. So a lot of the things that most people will be kind of used to, like, oh, I'll get this, I'll send it, you won't be able to use those. So I just ended up using Changelly, and it took about 30 minutes. So I use Changelly. So the key here is that knowing that when you create an account, you're not creating a wallet. You have to create a wallet separately. You have to pay for the wallet, and then after you pay for the wallet, you have to actually then send money in, and then you still can't do anything, because what you need to do now is, let's say you go to a DApp, you can't actually perform any transactions. You literally, if you tried to roll or do something like that, it'll say no, you can't. You don't have enough CPU staked. So then I recommend going to EOS Toolkit. You'll click on Manage Account, click on Manage Stake, and once you get down to Manage Stake, you then put in your recipient as your account, and you put it in your account again, and then you put in a certain amount of stake of the money that you actually have. Then you delegate it without transferring it. Click Delegate, and then after delegating it, then now you can play DApps. So the setup process is quite lengthy, but once you're there, you can then play DApps. And so that's how to set up your account, and then you can manage everything. So you can do voting here, and this is really your portal. EOS Toolkit is where you can just do a lot of stuff, but you'll definitely need Scatter in order to actually do things. Now, another thing that'll happen is that you'll notice that you're constantly losing money if you're not sure exactly how staking net works. But you really need to understand things, and if you're not exactly familiar with things. So you can think of this as almost like a game. You're playing it's really like you got to really understand it really, really well, and then you should start doing things. But in order to even get to a point where you can understand it, you need to kind of spend some money and play around with it, and then go back and do quite a bit of reading to then understand why certain things are happening, like why you need net staked, why you need CPU staked, and then why your usage goes up and down, and why even if you have a certain amount of usage, certain times you can't use on certain different nodes. You got to switch between nodes, and some different nodes might allow you to do a transaction that other nodes don't. So that's another thing that's interesting about EOS. So that's an introduction to EOS, and the cool part is you can play. There's a lot of DApps. You can actually go to DAppRadar and click on EOS DApps, and you can see a list of a lot of the DApps that are out there, a lot of which are mostly gambling games, but there's more stuff coming. There's a mobile game called EOS Nights for Android, iPhone, and even your browser that you can play with EOS. So EOS is very early, and that's a first glimpse at the EOS blockchain. So let's try to talk about EOS. I think one of the most important things when you actually get set up, so in the earlier portion of the video, we talked about all the things that you need to do in order to actually get your EOS wallet, account, and et cetera set up and funded, et cetera. We talked a little bit about CPU and things like that. But your command portal is this. This is your EOS toolkit. And it has a lot of things. You can switch between networks. You can manage your tokens. You can see this is really dynamic, how much CPU and net you're using.
So it's like a distributed computer, and so then these are kind of like the metrics for
my account. So you did a little bit more research into the theory of this. What's going on with like CPU and net, like on a basic level? Like what's the
first thing I had to kind of get away from is that in computing RAM, random access memory, CPU, central processing unit, and net is its own thing, are specific things that have to do with one node architecture and all that. In this case, they've taken the words and used them as kind of staking terminology. So RAM, CPU, and net.
So don't think of it like actual RAM.
Right. Okay. The thing was like bundles that allow you to use EOS. It's their alternative to fees.
So what I found kind of interesting too was that you have passports on here, so you put you tie an identity to your account, and then I was actually logging in and stuff, and the app can pull my email, etc. And I can set it to anything.
Right.
That's my passport. That's something I haven't really seen in blockchain. They're kind of looking at identity, even though it's not at all verified. Do you know anything about why even have an identity if it can't even be verified?
There's a lot of uses I can think of in my head. And the one is it's a mechanism allowing people to tie themselves to what they're broadcasting, so they have an easy way of identifying accounts. So for instance, one of the big features that EOS has is that they can actually ban accounts. So if they don't like what you're doing, if you're going against the BPs, you're trying to start a revolution or something, they can actually ban you, say you can't do anything anymore, crash your app.
So my account can be banned without.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great feature for.
I guess Ethereum could ideally could essentially fork and then take all my money out, but
you
would need
you
50%.
You have the minor.
Kind of similar to that way.
It's similar to that.
So forking, but they don't have to do that. They can just.
But the process, I think, is going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a lot easier.
We talked about that in Dubai, right? He makes really all the decisions. There's no democracy, and we're saying how well run that is because you don't have to get everyone to agree to everything. You can
exactly.
I'm not dissing democracy or anything like that at all. Actually, I'm just saying that there is some benefit
system.
Having a group that can. I don't know how I feel about that regarding blockchain per se because I come from a school of thought that's much different. But I think that's the thing. If you're going to get involved with EOS, you have to kind of detach yourself from a lot of the traditional thinking.
Right.
We did work on Ethereum a lot.
You have to focus a lot more on the benefits, the faster transactions, more stability. You're going to be able to, if something gets messed up, somebody hacks you as a service, you're actually going to be able to get your funds back.
So if people get hacked, they just they can return people's funds.
Yeah, I can just kind of move things.
All right. Yeah, and I think of EOS is really it's they don't call it gamification, but I really see this as gamification. What do you think? All these different components and things.
I'm not as familiar with the component on the application layer. It's one of the first
Game
real
theory,
serious, Byzantine fault tolerant, delegated proof of stake systems that exists in production right now. So that might just be the nature for it.
So a good experiment.
Yeah, it's kind of the first rendition of a delegated proof of stake system. Cool. And then, we'll see how that goes.
Is it EOS? I hear people say
EOS. I've heard it both ways.
EOS.
Sometimes EOS.
EOS. Okay, cool. EOS. Thank you.
Yeah.